In the aftermath of the TVA's explosion, Loki finds he can time slip again. He is alone in the TVA and explores it, finding someone in the control room. The person turns out to be him in the future. Suddenly, the TVA starts disintegrating, and Loki remembers what happened. Elsewhere, Casey is locked up at the Alcatraz prison. He and a few inmates are planning on escaping that night. They sneak out of their cells to the beach, where their getaway boat is waiting. While pushing the boat onto the beach, the men spot someone coming toward them. They abandon the boat but return when they see an ordinary man, not a correctional officer. The man, Loki, identifies Casey. However, Casey does not know him, and he tells Loki that if he wants to leave the island, he can find his own boat. Loki time slips to other places before landing in New York on a branched timeline in 2012. Here, Hunter B-15 is a pediatrician. Loki then finds Mobius in Cleveland, Ohio in 2022, where he works as a jet ski salesman. Loki tries talking to Mobius about the TVA, but Mobius assumes Loki wants to buy a TV. Before Mobius can continue talking, Loki slips into OB's house in Pasadena, California, 1944. In this timeline, OB is Dr. A.D. Doug, a science fiction writer hoping to write a bestseller. Loki tells OB everything that has happened, saying that the explosion reset everyone, taking them back to their former lives. OB believes everything and agrees to help Loki, but first, they must deal with Loki's time slipping. OB thinks that Loki can control it by focusing on why he is slipping, when, and at what time. Loki tries to control it, but nothing works. He then asks OB how they can help save the TVA. OB says that if the TVA runs on time, everyone's temporal aura can help take Loki back to the minutes before the explosion. Loki finds a TVA handbook in his pocket and gives it to OB, telling him to create a tempad to help them get back to the TVA. While OB works on it, Loki sets out to find the rest of the gang. The first person Loki approaches is Mobius. Initially, Mobius thinks that Loki is crazy, but Loki says that if they don't work together to save the TVA, everyone, including Mobius's two sons, is in danger. Loki promises that if everything works, he will bring Mobius to this moment anytime he pleases. Loki takes Mobius a few steps from the house and demonstrates how to manipulate time. Suddenly, a gateway appears and out steps OB. It took him 19 months to make the tempad, and he reveals that he lost everything, but he is hoping that the plan works. Loki then meets with B-15 and Casey, telling them the same story and bringing them to OB's house. OB then asks if everyone is assembled, but Loki mentions that one person is missing. Loki finds Sylvie outside a McDonald's shop. He starts explaining what is happening, but Sylvie recognizes him and knows what happened. She takes Loki to have a drink while they talk. Loki says that he needs Sylvie's help to bring back the TVA. However, Sylvie feels that the people should live their own lives as they intended from the beginning. Loki says that people should be given a choice between working for the TVA or living their lives on various timelines. Sylvie argues that all TVA employees were never given a choice. Instead, they were plucked from their original lives, their memories erased, and made to work for the TVA. The two argue whether their friends have a choice, with Sylvie forcing Loki to admit that he wants to fix the TVA so he can get his friends back and not be alone. After accepting this, Sylvie tells Loki to stop being selfish and let his friends live their lives. Loki goes back to OB and tells the people that they should leave. He wants them to return to their lives and admit that bringing them back was selfish of him. Back at Sylvie's location, she goes to a music record store and listens to music through headphones, happy that her lifelong dream to destroy the TVA has come to fruition. Suddenly, she hears the owner calling out to her. Sylvie turns around and sees everything disintegrating, including the owner. She travels to Loki and tells him that the other branches are slowly fading to dust. The group needs the tempad, but they find it missing. They assume Casey stole it as he is a bank robber, but he suddenly disintegrates. Loki watches as everyone spaghettifies, leaving him and Sylvie. Loki tries grabbing onto her, but she disintegrates as well. Loki holds the strings while listening to Sylvie's voice. He screams and is suddenly transported to the moments before Sylvie disintegrates. He focuses on her again and teleports to the time Sylvie comes into the room. Loki finally figures out that the way to control his time slipping is by concentrating on a person. With this knowledge, Loki teleports to the control room moments before the explosion. Loki asks OB what they could have done differently to ensure the plan didn't work. OB says that they should have been quicker. This prompts Loki to start traveling through time and ensuring that everything moves faster so they can get timely to the temporal loom more quickly. Each attempt fails, and the loom always explodes. Loki even decides to spend centuries learning everything OB knows so that the plan can be perfect. Centuries later, Loki takes charge of the situation and guides Timely into the temporal loom. Everything goes successfully, and the temporal loom stops imploding. Everybody celebrates the victory as OB confirms that the plan is working. He goes to read the loom's readings on the computer, surprised by what he sees. OB tells Loki that the plan might have worked for a minute or two, but so many branches are forming every second, so any plan Loki comes up with will always fail. Timely explains that the temporal loom will never be able to accommodate the extra branches and compares the situation to dividing a number by 0. Loki is devastated to learn that the loom will always fail on every timeline, and everyone sits as they wait for the loom to explode. Loki wills himself to the moment Sylvie is about to execute He Who Remains. He begs Sylvie not to do it, but Sylvie thinks Loki is deluded by power. She says that the only way to stop her is by executing her. Loki travels to the moment several thousand times, unable to stop Sylvie each time. Eventually, He Who Remains freezes time. He explains that the temporal loom was designed as a failsafe. In case it ever overloaded, it was designed to prune all the branches, and the TVA protecting the sacred timeline. He Who Remains explains that it is easier to rebuild. Loki wants to break the loom, but is warned against bringing war into the universe. Loki must make a choice: to eliminate Sylvie and let He Who Remains live, or to watch everything implode. Loki refuses his options and promises to find another way. Loki teleports to his first encounter with Mobius in the interrogation room. Loki asks Mobius how he chooses who lives and who dies. Mobius says that they prune people based on their actions at the TVA. He tells Loki a story about a hunter who couldn't execute a variant because he was an 8-year-old. By the time the hunter's partner executes the kid, it is already too late. Loki deduces that the hesitant hunter is Mobius. Mobius says that one shouldn't avoid doing what is necessary because they are scared of living with the scarred tissue. Loki gets up and greets Mobius just as he spaghettifies. Loki remembers seeing his friends disintegrate, and this hurts him. He travels back to OB's house and stops Sylvie from disintegrating. He explains everything he has learned, including how the loom was designed to protect the sacred timeline. Sylvie deduces that the only way to save everything is if Loki kills her so she doesn't execute He Who Remains. Sylvie refuses to say words to lessen Loki's guilt, saying that the sacred timeline is full of injustice and she will always choose to eliminate He Who Remains so people can have free will. Loki wonders what good free will is if everyone will die. Sylvie explains it is better to die fighting than live through pain and anguish. Loki travels back to the TVA's control chamber, where Timely is getting ready to enter the temporal loom. Loki looks at everyone and then walks down the steps into the loom. Sylvie and Mobius see and try to stop him, but he seals the door behind him, saying he now knows his purpose. Loki enters the temporal loom, withstanding the shockwaves until he reaches the loom's center. He unleashes his magic, focusing it all on the loom, causing it to explode and disintegrate. Loki then grabs the time strings and creates a magical staircase that takes him to the center. Loki magically creates a chair and sits on it, fusing all the cords to create a new temporal loom shaped like a tree. He will now control the timeline and the branches alone at the end of time. Everyone back in the control room is surprised to see Loki sacrifice himself, choosing to be alone forever so that they can rebuild the timeline in a better way. After the sacrifice, Hunter B-15 approaches Caesar and OB, who has reactivated Miss Minutes. She wonders whether the AI will try to eliminate them again, and OB shrugs. B-15 finds Mobius and invites him to a meeting with the other TVA leaders. However, Mobius wants to retire. He wants to live the life he has spent all this time protecting. B-15 bids him farewell, saying that he is always welcome at the TVA anytime he wants. OB writes another TVA handbook with Timely's help. The TVA dedicates its efforts to finding and eliminating He Who Remains variants. In one timeline, young Timely does not get the TVA handbook. Elsewhere, Renslayer wakes up in the void. As she looks around, she is horrified when Alioth approaches her. In the final scene, Mobius watches his variant, Dawn, play with his sons. Sylvie approaches him, saying it is weird that Loki isn't around with them. Sylvie walks away, leaving Mobius to look at what his life can be. If you enjoy this video, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and watch this video on the left as well.